Hello, hello. It is 3:30 p.m., August 11th, 2022. I've I'm so behind on doing stuff, but whatever. My things are good. And for the past hour, I've been actually, I guess it's been more than an hour. It's 3:30. I remember on 12:40, I had this message, like I was overhearing a conversation again, and it was somebody talking, like it was a guy talking to a girl, like male and female, you know, talking to each other, and it felt like they were coworkers, and I could hear what they were saying, and I don't know why I was hearing it. I really wasn't. I was dealing with the puppy, and we were playing over there, and I started hearing this conversation, and the guy was telling the girl how he wants to get out of a relationship with someone who's just using him and he knows it, and he's not in love with him, but he loves him, and he doesn't know how to leave. So it immediately, like when I overheard this, it was just that little tidbit, and then it cut off. He was saying, "I want to leave, but I don't know what to do." And then before she could start talking, it was like I saw her mouth open, and then my attention went right back to the dog again, which is asleep by my feet right now. So I'm going to, I wasn't going to do a reading, but I've been just chilling out for a minute, finally having a cup of coffee. And it, those two in their conversation popped up again, and this time they were on the phone talking to each other. And she asked him this time, "So did you talk to him yet about, you know?" And he said, "No, not yet. He's faking happy again." And I was like, "Okay." So I've been meditating, zoning out, just kind of daydreaming and thinking and talking to Source, like, what would you do? What do you want me to do? And first and foremost, I was asked to say that I hope, if you're watching this, whoever you are, however these threads are connected, that if you have a hesitation or fear of leaving a relationship, then the one of the roots, you know how a plant has multiple roots? One of the roots is a fear of rejection. So because you're afraid of rejection, whether to be rejected or to reject someone, you end up somehow, or some of you end up somehow, self-sacrificing your own happiness to play pretend for someone else, which then leads into the vibration and the thread and the root of cowardice, which also leads to anger and repressed trauma. They're all threads, they're all roots, they're all nerve endings that are kind of connected, like sticks on a branch. So I don't know how to get you to, how to guide you into letting that fear go. But imagine for a second that all those scenarios you play out in your head about how certain situations could play out is a cube you're holding in your hand. And when you hold that cube, it shifts color. And while it's shifting color, you're thinking about something. And if it keeps erratically changing color, then it's something that you can't put together in a form of, for example, a Rubik's Cube where each side is one color. Okay? So in order to use this emotional Rubik's Cube, your soul is teaching you about these things in these root systems so that you can recognize when you're so uncertain of what to do, don't think about that thing. Go take action on something else. Give your mind a break on that topic. Your heart knows what to do, But your mind, because it is a governor in your body and a relay system, it wants to relay and govern and process and goes on routines and algorithms, pattern recognition and all of that. So you don't want to be thinking about a situation like this. If you want to go, that means you want to be somewhere else than where you are now. And how long can someone stay at a party uninvited or when the party's over? How much longer can two people put party hats on when everybody in the party is gone and it's not a birthday party anymore, but it's, 9 months later and it's a pregnancy party now, but you two are still in that same situation, going through the same issues, and each of you wanting something different from the other one. No, you be who I want you to be. No, you be this person and then I'll give you a little bit of this one. No, you be this one and then I'll give you some of this and then you'll give me that and then eventually we'll do it automatically, right? No, that's trying to put two things together that don't go together. And a lot of people right now in this reality seem to be in relationships that they don't want to be in. And a part of them on the inside is aching. It's self-sabotaging. It is causing paranoia and anxiety and arrogant behavior. So that you see that when you're interacting with someone, then that someone isn't someone that brings out good responses from you physiologically. It's similar to the misinterpreted sensation of feeling butterflies in your stomach when you're around someone, compared to when your gut is warning you about someone and all those butterflies are not calm. They're fluttering around and they want to run. When you see someone and your palms get sweating, it's not really a sign of your body being very comfortable, is it? It's either heating up because it's in heat somehow, or in some kind of regression where it's trying to slick something off of it with a layer of sweat, like a protection. Our bodies speak to us. Now, when you're listening to your body, are you taking action on what you know you should be doing, even if it's a baby step? Even if you're going 3 steps back, 1 step forward? Are you at least aware that this fear that is a thread among humanity and the mind of rejection, that it's an illusion? Imagine a mommy dog, and the puppy keeps running to the mommy puppy, and the puppy keeps the mom keeps kind of going like this to the dog and pushing it all away. And then the puppy gets really rambunctious and starts fighting and playing or roughhousing. Like your spirit guides, your team, the people in life, sometimes they gotta push you away. Sometimes you gotta push them away. Because that force field of your aura, when you're intertwining it with their force field, and the result is physiological, biological discomfort. You don't want to keep putting yourself in that situation. Remember the other day with the card, I think it was the Queen of Wands or the Princess of Wands, where the elder was teaching the young one not to touch the fire. Kind of like how a mom dog will teach a baby pup how much is okay to press when they're playhousing and biting each other, like how hard. Sometimes a mom dog, I don't know if you guys have seen this, I've been around a lot of dogs. Sometimes the mom or the dad pup will play and roughhouse with the puppies, and then they'll bite and make them squeeze and squeak a little bit, and the puppy yelps, and then the puppy jumps back to do the same thing, but realizes the adult isn't yelping back. So it's kind of like a, hey, see this kind of thing. I'm not uncertain on how to explain this, but I'm being asked to explain this to you because it's the imagery I'm being shown. And because of this imagery, it means something to you as an individual watching this. So I hope you got something out of it. Now, this isn't going to be advice. I'm being asked to tell you this as well. This isn't advice for you to have a healthy relationship. This is for those who are in a relationship that they don't want to be in, but they don't know how to get out of it. This isn't going to teach you how to have a manipulative plan, but this is going to help you bring awareness to what you already know you need to do. Okay? So I'm just going to hold a little mirror up to you, kind of like this, and it's pretty much going to say this. But the way it's going to say this is through these, so that your subconscious switches the gears and starts making your conscious and your superconscious do what it needs to do. And then you get that inspired idea, you get those epiphanies, you get those eureka moments. That's because all these little images that go into your mind that are directly there and are processed by source inside of you, and then they spiral back out as creation in your reality. You feel something about it, and then they spiral back in, and then you change something because you say, oh, I don't like this, I want this instead. And then you let the thing you don't want go, and then boom, comes back, and you get what you do want. Think about it also as a vortex, okay? So you're experiencing life, and there's something you don't want anymore. You don't want to experience it, but you're not letting it go. So you're putting into that funnel, that energy center, your auric field, your torus field, all the things you want. Time and space is already collapsing on the outside to create matter out of the light that is around us. You are telling the information how to consolidate itself to turn into a chair, for example. And then source and all that stuff do those things. They bring the chair and they put it in your vortex. Now it's up to you to reach your hand out, open your palm, let go of what was there, the chair that's broken, so that the chair, the vibrational vortex, the void that's left by the missing chair. Excuse me. Hold on. That missing chair leaves a vortex, a void, a vacuum, where you need to pull in like something to take its place, right? It's like giving up your couch. Well, you're going to need another couch. Well, wait a minute. Sleep, and then the next day it'll come back. And then there will be something that happens that leads you to a new couch because it spirals. It's a fractal. It's all already there. Another way to look at it is you are in a black hole. The black hole has all the light in it. With that light, you can, with your thoughts, emotions, and actions, manifest it, intend it, and co-create matter that you want. But you also have to let it go because it is part of that energy that keeps shifting. If you're in a house and you want a new house and you haven't gotten one yet, and you think you've tried everything, let that go. Be okay with where you are, but start moving things out. Start throwing things out. That way the universe is like, what's this little void here? What's this little void here? What's that little void here? You have all these things you want, but there's empty spaces in your house. There's empty walls, there's empty shelves, there's empty cabinets. Why? And then the universe goes bloop, 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 and gives you all of that stuff. One by one. You go to the grocery store, you suddenly find those apples you were craving. You go down the street, you find, something on the floor that's like a quarter or something. You pick that quarter up, and the universe is like, oh, you have something silver in your hand. Let me attract more of that to you. Boom, 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 and then you have more. And then the relationship way, like these are all things you have a relationship with. And with other people, there's another person standing right there doing the same thing. And if you two are clashing against each other, then your own auric field creates a barrier a fake personality, a mask, so that you push the person away. But they don't recognize what you're doing. They see that you're creating a bunch of chaos and they're like, ooh, she's crazy. And you're like, yes, I'm crazy, go away. But they're like, no, let me love you harder. What's wrong? What's this? Let me fix you. Let me heal you. I can't leave you. It would be wrong. But all this other person wants to do is run the other way because they don't want to be there either. They know at a subconscious level that when this person is doing this, that means it's time to go. When you're at a party and someone turns the lights on, last call, time to go. This is how people speak. It's their love language. When some people don't want to be with each other, they create distractions, illusions, and fake personalities. Oh, I had to go to work. Oh, I was busy. Oh, I just skipped my mind. And when that doesn't work, they cheat, they lie, they betray, they do things to make the other person want to leave so that they don't have to take responsibility and be like, hey, there, yeah, I know we've been together for like 1,000 years, but I don't really want to date you anymore. I want to go see what Betty Boop is doing over there. Bye. Have a good life. See you in another 1,000 years. We're all connected. We're all equals. We're all already in heaven. There is no whatever other than in your imagination because it only exists the way you see it, except for the mass media stuff. That's what we all see. So we're all creating a little bit of that in a way. But when you're creating something with someone and you don't want to create with them anymore, you're creating discord. And then that reverberates through the tapestry. And then other people around you will walk through that torus field of you, which is around, I think, 54 feet or something. I don't know. They feel it. They recognize it. It's like Wi-Fi receptors walking past each other. They pick up each other's signals. So what are you going to do? You want to leave somebody, right? You don't want to be in a relationship with someone or something or a place. And the honest truth is there's cowardice. Otherwise, you'd have admitted the honest truth, had an adult conversation, and you... Oh my God. Oh God, you're funny. Animals, plants, balance, and the ocean. I want you to really look at this. Now, do you see what you need to do? If one of these animals in her arm want to be put on the floor so they can go run and play, do you think she's going to be afraid of putting them down because she'll think she's being rejected by the animal? The cliche, there's so many fish in the sea, or the primordial soup of life, or each of them being an entire creator themselves, and aspects of the creator, different moods, different aspects of personality. Maybe God was looking at something like a Oreo cookie and he's like, I'm going to make a fish that looks like that. No one's going to know I just added it after seeing Oreo cookies. The world is full of wonder. And some of you are stuck in relationships you don't want to be in. And you're missing the beauty of life. Even if it's just you by yourself. I personally spent so many years of my life being completely isolated from everyone and everything. Missing Christmases, birthdays, pivotal moments in people's lives, when people were in hospitals and needed me. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I was busy putting my cells back together. But you're where you don't want to be, and there is an entire world that's going on, and you're not putting yourselves back together. You're just pacifying someone else who also deserves to be free of someone who doesn't love them. The person you're with that you don't want to be with, they're someone's child. They're someone's sibling. They're someone's grandparent eventually. Someone's mother or father. Someone's aunt or uncle. They're someone's love. They're someone's best friend. They're somebody who rescues an animal in the wild out of nowhere. They're someone who saves the life of somebody crossing the street that would have died if they weren't there. There's someone who, through the grief of you leaving them, rebirths themselves into something else and finds a different sense of freedom after the coldness they'll feel. They come back to life. All that ice melts. It becomes rain and regrows you cell by cell. Like that's happened to me. But first, I had to recognize what I'm done with, I'm done with. And me feeling bad or regret over the loss of people or persons or places, or holding on to things that want to be let go of. It doesn't just hurt me. Have you ever had a puppy in your arms that wants to get down? And you're just cuddling it, kissing it, and then it squeaks. And it's like, let me down. And your heart fucking breaks. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Go be free. Go explore. I'll watch you. Do you love them enough to want to see them smile, even if they're holding someone else's hand, kissing someone else, and marrying someone else? Do you want them to be happy in that way, and that it would truly put a smile on your face to see them happy? Some of you say yes, some of you say yes begrudgingly because it would break your heart. And that's okay. Drown in those emotions if you need to. It won't kill you. Eventually you'll do this again. And you'll cry yourself so deep into the ocean that the ocean itself carries you up out of the water. Because you weigh more than the water. Your emotions, when you weighed more, they weighed you down. But you cried that entire ocean and gasped for the air of life. God, let me breathe. Okay. But you gotta let go of the fish if you want to walk around with the flowers. Which means some part of your soul, in order to really put the fear of cowardice, rejection, and all that to peace, some part of you has to become okay with your concept of death. Allow me to explain. Letting go is like dying. A part of you must die to allow yourself and the other person to be free. The part of you that wants to hold on. The part of you that's so deeply in love with someone who hurts you in ways that make you cry where you can't even speak or make a sound. To let that person go means to let go of the person you've been that's been waiting for rescue. Even you have to let them go. Because you have to become the person that rescued them. When you're in a relationship with someone that you don't want to be in, you have to let that person go. And when people say that, what they don't say is that the person you have to let go of is you. You have to die to yourself and be reborn as something new that you are. Yes, you love this person you were with, but you don't anymore, do you? And those of you that do, you'll be holding on even more deeply now, won't you? There'll be so much on your mind and your heart that you'll feel like you're embracing them and they're embracing you even when they're not. You'll be glowing. It'll be real love. But first, are you ready to bury who you've been? Can you imagine if you were a star in space or the moon itself, looking down at your life and seeing the wonders on the earth. All these people, all these places, all these life forms, all the tears people have cried, all the blood people have shed, everything people have done and haven't even talked about. If you were that being, would you try to save every wild animal that got caught in a trap? Would you go down and hug every single person that was crying? You'd watch, you'd grieve, you'd let things go. You'd zone out and stare at the oceans and the way the wind moves across the planet, as if it's just breathing. And people walking around cities, things falling, things exploding, lightning crackling, ships moving in the oceans, planes flying, mountains collapsing without people even knowing, earthquakes in places people didn't even know existed underneath their feet. And all you can do is witness. No matter what you feel, no matter what you do, look but don't touch. Eventually you'd want to be free of that prison too, wouldn't you? You'd want to come down to earth and be part of them. And when you do, you'd think you can hold on to things deeply, wouldn't you? Because you're part of that. I can hold you, I can hug you, I can kiss you. I can grow this plant, I can build this building. You can destroy, you can create. You can cook food, you can drink wine, you can smoke plants. You can eat delicious cakes and cookies and cupcakes and nurse puppies. And what the fuck, a butterfly? Look at that tiny thing. And a bee? I can't believe bees have butts. I can't believe unicorns existed at some point. What the heck are stars up there? Was that what I was? Your soul went through that. And now you're with someone, some of you, that you don't want to be with. And both of you know it. So why don't you two just have an honest conversation? You're all animals on a planet. Why play these games of manipulation with each other? If this bird doesn't want to play with this bird right now, what is there a problem with them both flying off and doing something else? If they, pair bonded wolf and her mate, the alpha and her mate, they're always, monogamous or whatever that's called. Do you think if one of them went off and didn't want to sleep next to one or didn't want to be with one, or just kind of said, hey, I want to split up, do you think that they would have an argument? Why is it okay for people to do so when your words create? If something doesn't want to be held on to anymore, let it go. What the heck? You can travel to all these places in the world and you'll recognize we're all still connected. So accept it and do the right thing by you with your morals. not the standards people have put around you or the boundaries you have or don't have. Is it right to contain something and be contained by the act of having to contain that something? So if two people are in a relationship and this person wants to go and this person doesn't know about it, so this person's like, okay, I'm gonna go, and this person's like, no, don't leave me, I love you. And this person's like, look over there, look at this huge world. And they're like, I don't want to not know you, I don't want to split up, etc., etc. Okay, well, standard would say that, you know, a relationship splits and you don't have to talk to each other anymore. You know, this dog cheated with that dog or whatever that happened. It doesn't matter. Now the situation's different, isn't it? There's love, but there is disharmony. And being separate doesn't work. Being together doesn't work. So why don't you try friendship instead? The standard of human life has made it seem like sex and, you know, being in a relationship, a monogamous relationship, whether it was monogamous or not, that it means that when it's over, that it's the friendship and bond is gone too. But why? If you're wolves in a pack and two of the wolves are dating and then they split, do the wolves now leave the pack? Do they stop talking to each other in the pack and just act really shady to each other? How petty is that? What if this little bird and this little bird cheated on each other? Both of them did because they both didn't want to be together. And now their pride is in the way and they're like, well, I'm not leaving. Well, I'm not leaving. Well, I don't want to make it work. Well, I don't even like you. Okay, then what are you two doing together? Well, the sex is okay, right? It's company, right? Better than being alone, right? No, wrong. Because all these animals could be using your love, you petting them, you feeding them. All the people in your neighborhood could be going through something that you could be helping with right now. You know, someone could need a babysitter, someone could need a dog walker, someone could need someone to catch the horse that ran off out of the stables in the freezing cold. And you're over there going, boo, feels like there's spikes in my coochie. Well, obviously, how many people have you slept with? You know? How many ways have you told this person you don't want to be with them and they keep staying with you? How much has that changed you already? Oh my goodness. This is the pressure from the universe. The split has to occur between who you were that was with that person and who you're becoming as someone who's more genuinely you and accepts what you actually want in life. Even if you don't know, go try. Don't go to a restaurant and stand there for 45 minutes looking at the menu and thinking, oh, what am I going to eat? And playing out every possibility in your head while there's like a line forming behind you of like people holding a dish because you keep manifesting what you think about. And you're like, is this what you thought? 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 And you're like, oh my God, I knew I was right. No, silly, you just manifested that in your own auric field and the other person has no idea. That's why they're coming to you or they're around you, sleeping next to you in bed, being oblivious, and you think they're being, you know, secretive. It's just you not wanting to be with them. And they know it, part of them. And because you know that part of them, the God spark in them knows, and they're just pretending, waiting for you to do the right thing. Then when they're giving you attitude, it's the God spark in them pushing you away. You're going to let me talk to you this way? You're going to let me keep treating you this way? You're going to keep letting me push you and disrespect you this way? Okay. And then the other person's like, well, why are you being mean to me? Because you're keeping me in a relationship I don't want to be in. And I'm waiting for you to let me go so it evolves you as a soul into a better person, and you're not. You're not even doing the right thing while holding on. Just let go. And then the person's like, no, I love you too much. I can't let go. But it's not love, is it? It's a boundary that's self-imposed and traps the other with you. I used to have a person I thought was my friend, and he would date people. And while no matter what that person they were dating was doing, or how nice, or how rich, or how whatever they were, he would cheat on them. He slept with at least 3 or 4 people per day, and he threatened to sleep with people I was dating repeatedly if I ever did anything to upset him. This was a real person, a real living being who had slept with his cousins, who had told me he pleasured himself to various images of people in close relation to him, or how he would if given the opportunity. This person is so afraid of being on their own that he has infected other people with diseases, both physical and spiritual and financial, because he does not know how to be on his own. He's afraid because when he was younger, he was traumatized deeply by someone who was supposed to take care of him. And that trauma continued for almost a decade of his life. And it went on for so long that he started enjoying it and asking for it. And it twisted him into something else. Because he lost hope. And he started copying me. He started pretending to be me. He started emulating me. He would name his characters in video games after me with maybe 1 or 2 letters being different, just to mock. He would flaunt people that, I was interested in front of me, like with pictures of them having sex. He's like, look what I did. Isn't that the guy you wanted? And he thought he was being funny and that I was okay with it. And the entire time I was friends with him because I was hoping he would recognize what it's like to be a real friend. Because I was nothing like he was. I indulged him and I stood by him. In every drug I ever did, I had to force my body, stay sane, stay sane, stay sane to protect this fool. But eventually it was too much. There was no change. A decade later, still the same. Another decade later, still the same. Another decade later, still the same. Now the next decade later, still the same. But body deteriorating, mind gone, soul essence basically turned off. All because the person stayed in a connection that they didn't want to stay in. And they were being forced to stay in a connection that wasn't safe for them, and they both knew it. Both parties knew it. It was an absolute extreme situation. And God put me in there as a catalyst to break that up. So instead of him being at home or going out to the bars, drinking alone and doing whatever the fuck he was doing, he had a needy best friend with mental problems to take care of. And he focused every moment he was out with me. Until he started emulating me, copying me, and I started doing the same to him to make him feel better and special, because I knew that's how his mind works. That's why he was doing it to me. He didn't know how to compliment, so he did it by copying. He didn't know how to tell me he was in love with me, so he slept with people that I was interested in. He didn't want me to be in a relationship with anybody, so he sabotaged every single relationship I was ever in. That's what this is, guys. When somebody is in a relationship they don't want to be in, this is how it plays out. So this is why you're feeling that pressure. This is why today I've been feeling that pressure right through my ear canal. Talk about this, Celeste. Talk about this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Because then I'll remember all the stuff. And then he's like, it's okay. Okay. Well, you're stuck in a relationship you don't want to be in, right? Some of you. And others of you know somebody that's stuck in a relationship they don't want to be in. What role are you playing in this person's life? When you're connected to Source, you know your role. Even when you think it's just a crazy imagination, some part of you knows. You see the look in her eye. Or his eye. They know. You see that face back there? Eye, nose. Kind of a sad smiley face. It's like a dragon or a little schnauzer puppy face. You see it? You have spirit taking care of you. But you have to be on the same vibration as the help Source is attempting to give you. If you want to let go of someone, you have to let go of who you are when you're with them. It took me almost half a decade to recover the spark of life and wisdom back in me. Because I stayed too long. I stayed too long somewhere I knew I wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't for me. I was being used, and someone was afraid to let me go. So then I stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed. And then I knew that I had to go. And then we were like electricity towards each other. There has to be balance. Be honest about how you feel about people. Do not weave your tapestry with those threads that you don't want to weave with. If you're needle stitching something, my mom used to do this back in Germany and the early part of the United States before we got robbed back then. She would make these things called kubulan. They were tapestries, and she would sew with a thread and needle, one by one color thread by one color thread in different parts. Painstaking work that took months for her to finish one thing. And they were beautiful. What if I gave her wool instead of that fine silk and stuff she would sew with? What if I gave her leather instead? And I'm like, it's okay, just use that for that part of it. We'll get something else later. It's okay, just stay in that relationship for another week. 7 days is nothing. It's just 7 sunrises. 7 days of 24 hours that you exist. 7 days of 60 minutes per day, or 60 minutes per hour per 24 hours per day, per everything. Tick, tock, tick, tock. And the entire time in the back of your mind, you keep thinking, like some of you are thinking about this video, when is it over? But do you notice that thread you're feeling right now? That the video has gone on so long that you can't click out. Now what if you were talking to the person you don't want to be with? And all they're waiting for you to do is to say goodbye. Or let's just be friends. When I was younger, And I was obsessed with The Last Unicorn more than I am now since my book was stolen. I saw an interview with someone interviewing Mia Farrow, who did the voice of The Last Unicorn, Amalthea. This is like in 1982, or the book was whatever. I saw the interview in like 1988 or 1989, and it was one of the first English things I'd ever heard. And I started memorizing it and repeating it, and over the almost 35 years to 40 years now, it's evolved into something of my own. I don't even remember the original quote, but it's basically something along the lines of, learn to let go as gracefully as you can. This isn't graceful. Let go.